We can create fixed assets in nettTracker based on the transactions that have been entered in your accounting software. We can see from the asset register dashboard that there is a difference of 7,500 between the balance sheet and the asset register, and that is because new purchases have been created in our accounting software that have not yet been updated to our fixed asset register. nettTracker has the ability to automatically detect transactions and update our fixed asset register for us without ever needing to log in. Let's just review those settings first. If we head to our settings menu, selecting asset register, and then scrolling down we have our automation settings, which we can edit using the pencil icon on the right, where we can choose to automatically refresh for transactions, create assets, and select a threshold, so only assets will be created when the value exceeds 500 in this example. And we can also elect to create asset reference numbers for us as well. Now please bear in mind that automation routines currently happen twice a month. So that is at month end and in the middle of the month. So if you've just created an asset purchase in your accounting software, that may not automatically appear in nettTracker. So we need to refresh our transactions first and then add our assets, even if this setting has been enabled. So let's do that now. I'm going to go to transactions in the menu in the left of the screen, selecting the option to refresh. I can now see that I have some assets to be reviewed. Within our pending transactions, we have two asset purchases that make up the value of the 7,500 where we had a difference on our asset register summary on the dashboard. Using the settings cog on the far right, I can choose to create an asset based on this transaction. The description has come through automatically. I can add a supplier name if necessary and add a further description, more like a memo note if I wish. The cost cannot be changed. I can add a residual salvage value. The asset group is selected by default based upon the account category used in the accounting software. The default depreciation rule is in place. I can change if I wish. The acquisition date has come through based on the transaction. There is no depreciation brought forward. The depreciation start date is based on the acquisition date, but I can change that if I wish. I could also choose to defer the depreciation and start it later. The location and tracking codes used in your accounting software should automatically filter through. With all of our selections in place, we can simply select to save to create the asset. I'll repeat the process for the next asset. Simply selecting the option to save. The two transactions used to create assets to put onto the asset register will appear within the Process tab. Reviewing the asset register dashboard, we can see that we no longer have a difference between the net book value of assets and the balance on our balance sheet. If we take a look at our fixed asset register, selecting the asset group for office furniture where the two assets have been added, we can see that our desks and chairs are now included. At this point, no depreciation has been calculated. Even if the month end had already been processed in which those assets were purchased, we'll need to run the period end again. If we were to look at the forecast, reviewing office furniture, we could see that those assets were overdue. and the depreciation needs to be brought up to date. To do that, we can go to period end, selecting the previous month, and choosing to run. The assets have been brought up to date, and if we review the asset register, taking a look at office furniture, we can see that depreciation is now up to date.